All right. So we're going to talk about how to figure out which PPO plans just don't make sense for your practice. And then we're going to talk about how to communicate with the patients for 6 months as you move towards resigning from them, and some do's and don'ts and verbal skills. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's take a look here. So the first, I don't know why it does that. The first tracker that you have on in your email I sent you is called PPO Patients by Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what you're going to do first is right here in this cell. This is important for team members to understand. You might want to take notes on just what to do here, but you're going to take your data you guys have out of your dental software, Dentamax, and you're going to say, hey, how many active patients do we have? Okay. And it's going to give you a number. And you're just going to plug that number right in this cell. All of these formulas are pointing to this cell right here. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is we're going to figure out, well, which insurances are we in network with? And just list out the ones that you're in network with. That's it. Okay. And you'll see, like for this office, Cigna had 131 patients in it. Well, the formula says when you take 131 divided by 1,400, you get almost, 9%, 9.5%. Okay. This is an important statistic for us. So like with this office, we didn't resign from Delta. We just went from Delta PPO to Delta Premier only. That's what we did in this office. And they did that first. And then we went through and resigned from each of these insurance plans. Now, a lot of times what I find is this number is make-believe.
What does it make?
Make-believe. Meaning it's fake, it's false. It's not accurate because we haven't been keeping up with inactivating patients who haven't been in 18 months or more. So if you come back with a number that says, 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000, we're gonna have to take that with a grain of salt and make some just some simplifications maybe. The percentage will probably be okay. I mean, if all of a sudden, if you thought you had, 3,000 patients and 400 were Cigna and you were going along, I mean, the percentage would probably still be the same unless, just a bunch of Cigna patients left your practice for some reason. So the first question I have is, do you feel like if you went and found this active number of patients in Dentamax, do you feel like it would be accurate?
I don't know. As so far, I know it's the Dentamax show me it's about 1,300.
Okay, that seems about right. Yeah, that seems doable. Sometimes I'll work with these practices and they give me these numbers like 4,000 patients. I go, you don't have 4,000 patients. There's no way.
Right.
2,000 patients means you have, let's do it this way. For every 200 patients you have, you need that many days a week of hygiene. Right? So to have 4 days a week of hygiene, you would need 800 patients. To have 8 days a week of hygiene, you'd have to have 1,600 patients.
Then again, how many patients do we need for 4 days of hygiene?
Every day is equal to 200 active patients.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have 1 day a week of hygiene, you have 200 active patients. You have 2 days a week of hygiene every single week. You have 400 active patients. There's a plus or minus there depending on how your perio and how frequent patients are seeing you, but we can typically figure it out.
Patients per 1 day of hygiene.
Yes, 200 patients, 1 day of hygiene. Perfect. Okay. So if you had 1,300 active patients, that makes sense to me. That seems within normal limits. So I think our numbers will be right. Next key factor about this percentage, that if the percentage is too high, we're probably not going to touch it right away. It'll be something we handle later on. We typically want to deal with,
the smallest percent.
Yeah, 15 to 20% of your practice. So you can see like these 4 plans came to 18% of his practice. It made sense for us to deal with all 4 of these at the same time. And then we went, you know what? They're so small down here, so few patients. We're still at 20%. We just decided to go for all of it at once with this practice. And so we had conversations with all of these patients right here, right? These patients right here, these patients right here. So we had 300 conversations. That's it. We had 300 conversations, not bad. And we did it over a 6-month period. Okay. So let's see what that works out to be. Okay. 300 patients divided by 6 months. So 50 conversations a month. You work 15 days, right? 50 divided by 15 days. That's 3.5 patients a day that you're talking to about this. It's not overwhelming to talk to all of your patients about this. So when we're dealing with smaller bite-sized pieces, it's doable. So I said to this doctor, we'll call him Dr. K, I said, you know what? To me, it makes sense for us to look at all 7 of these plans at the same time, and we'll save this one for a separate decision. I'm correcting myself. He actually dealt with the Premier thing last. So in fact, he just did that 6 months ago-ish, 8 months ago. So, all right. The next thing you'll do is you'll have a tab for every single one of these names: Aetna, Anthem Blue Cross, CCPOA, Cigna.
Excuse me, Eric, I have a question.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, we have established, for example, active 1400. Does the system account a patient who has no insurance? Because it's calculated percentage.
The assumption. Okay. The assumption is being made that all the other insurances you deal with are out of network already or cash pay patients. So, 526 patients are at UCR, at office fee level, either because they don't have any insurance or they're out of network. We're only going to list out the insurances that you are in network with only.
So it should show us percentage from total number of patients in network.
That's right. That's what this number is right
total
here.
Number of patients.
Yep. This will tell you total number of patients in network. It's adding those up. Exactly. Yeah. This
we calculate percentage from this number, 874.
Yeah. Exactly. This is with Delta. This is without Delta is why we have that separation there. Yep. And so we weren't going to deal with 62% of his practice. That would be financial business suicide. We don't want to do that. We want to deal with around 20% of your practice at a time. Now, some practices I work with, they just have a long list of insurances that they're in network with, and it's 75% of their practice. And we're just going 15 to 20% of it at a time, doing conversations 6 months at a time. Okay. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. So each tab will have a whole, I'm not going to show it just because we're recording this and there's patient names on here for privacy. But inside the Aetna tab are all 34 Aetna patient names. Okay. They're listed out, just their name. Then there's a column that says positive and a column that says negative. When I had a conversation with Mr. Abbott, was it a positive response or a negative response? I put a 1 in either column. So at the end of 6 months, when I've had 34 conversations with all of my Aetna patients, I could look down and go, we had 30 positive conversations, positive reactions from each one of these patients, and only 4 negative. That feels really good to resign from that insurance plan. Patients are on board with us.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
We finally decide on response of the patients. Is it positive or not?
That's right. We're going to have, at the end of the 6 months, we're going to have a tally, a total number of did we get good responses or bad responses? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing we're looking at is this is creating a frequency of which these patients come into your practice. In other words, every 6 months, you're seeing 34 patients in hygiene, right? So you're seeing, if you do the math on this, you don't see these people very often, right? 34 divided by 6, you're seeing 5 of these patients a month, maybe 6 a month, okay, that come into your practice. So it's not a huge deal when you resign from this Aetna. How bad could it get? to lose a certain percentage. Keep in mind, our goal is when we resign for a plan, we never lose more than 15% of those patients. So if we hold true on this plan, right, we might lose 5 patients. Okay. But you'll see on the next tracker, what is that value of that patient? What is the value of 29 patients at a network versus 34 patients in network value? That's what we want to look at. So we're going to take this frequency. We see 2.5% of our practice. Everything we do, 2.5% of the time, falls under Aetna. If we do 20 crowns a month, 2.5% of them were done on Aetna patients. Does that make sense? If we do 100 prophies a month, 2.5% of those prophies were done on Aetna patients. Okay, now let's look at the other tracker, because we're going to take that frequency and we're going to use the other tracker. And here's what happens. By the way, let me go back. You have to ask your dental software company, how do I run the report that shows me all of the patients so that you can put it in the clipboard, copy and paste it onto the tab? They'll tell you how to say, you'll say, all right, Dentimax, how do we run the report that shows me a list of all of our Aetna patients, all of our Cigna patients, all of our MetLife patients? And they'll tell you how to run that report. You'll export those names and paste them into this tab. You got it?
Eric, I have to leave for a few minutes.
Okay, we'll keep talking. Is that okay? All right. So this second tracker, okay. So I don't know, Monica, if you can see this well, if that's okay. Okay. Do you think should we pause for a minute?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's pause. Let me stop sharing and we'll pause the recording. All right. Excellent. So this second tracker is called the PPO write-off calculator. Now what you're going to have is you're only going to have room for 5 plans. If you want, you can, copy and paste these tabs. They're blank right here. This one's got some example in it, but they're blank. You can right click on it, move or copy. Just click create a copy and then click right here and it'll make a 6th version of it. So you can make more and more and more of them. Okay. And then you'll rename them to match the tabs that you have here. So Aetna at 2.4% would end up being my name here. I would just, up here, just for memory's sake, I would type 2.4% because that's going to be my multiplier. Okay. And then down here, I would rename this and I would just call it Aetna. Make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The one thing that's the same on every single tab that you can copy and paste is the fee. I've given you 21 fees that you're going to put an example in for. Okay. So, and we'll use, for pro fee, we'll use real fees for you guys. So what is your office fee, your UCR fee for a pro fee?
Right now it's 112.
Okay. 112. I wasn't too far off. And are you in network with Aetna?
Yes.
What is your Aetna pro fee?
Probably like 56.
Yeah, probably something like this. Okay. So what happens is it tells us what the write-off percentage is, 50%. Okay. Shows us the dollar difference. And then what we would do is we would use our frequency to figure out what the cost is. Now, this is all you have to do for this tracker to work. Okay. To understand what the percentage of write-off is, we would just need UCR fee and the insurance fee. You just fill out 2 columns, it'll do the rest. And we'll understand, hey, every time we see one of these patients, we're writing off. Usually I see somewhere between 40, around 40. Yeah. Did we lose you? Can you hear me now?
Eric, you were freeze for several seconds.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We'll do this again. Here we go. So all you have to do is fill out these 2 columns. This is mandatory. Your fee and that insurance's fee. That's all you have to do. Okay. If you want to know the actual cost, the actual dollar amounts per year that it's costing you to use this plan to have these patients come in, then you need to figure out the rest of this. So for example, if you guys are doing, and you can look at it in your procedure code reports, you can run a report that says, well, how many prophies do we do a month, Dynamax? Oh, you guys do, I'll make up a number. You guys do 50 prophies a month. Well, 2% of them are going to be Aetna. 2% of 50 is 1. Okay. And in our procedure code reports, how many 4910s do we do? Oh, we do about 20 of those a month. Okay, so that's about a half. That would be Aetna. And you start to figure this out as you go down. We do 50 exams a month. That would be 1 would be Aetna, and it would start to go down. Okay. And you're going to see the dollar amount's going to change based upon insurance plan. The reason this is important, too, one, you want to know what the average percentage write-off is for you to be in network with this plan. Now, team, what I want you to understand is our profit margin in most dental offices is 25%, maybe more, but typically 25%. And so if we're writing off 26% or more, guess how much profit we have? Zero, negative. We're paying that patient to come in and see us, right? So if your profit margin is 25% and it's a 50% write-off, I just paid that patient 25%, unless you cut the amount of time you spend with them by 25% or whatever, half, just to get some profit. You got to make some changes differently. Add on service fees, like different things we talked about. So we have to look at this plan and say, how many people are in it and what is it worth to us? What is the cost for us to be in it? And then we'll look at it and say, yeah, this makes sense to be in, or it doesn't. But you at least have to do this math right here to get us a percentage of write-off. If you can do this column, it just explains further to you what, in dollars and cents, what this plan costs you annually. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, the cost annually is assuming we have cash patients and we reject them and we see this patient.
That's right. What is the
But we
cost of
don't
doing
have
business with this
cash
patient?
patients,
Yeah.
just to replace existing patients.
Or these patients become cash paying patients, because what happens with Aetna when you're at a network with them, 95% of the time is they pay this fee. So let's say I'm an Aetna patient, and let's say you're at a network with Aetna. As long as I'm not an HMO, DMO, or PPO only plan, which are only about 5% of the plans, maybe 10% in heavily populated areas, okay? Meaning, and Monica, you could nod your head on this. When you go get a breakdown of benefits and you look up a group number, do you ever see in-network column 100% preventive, 80% basic, 50% major? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Mm-hmm. And then there's another column to the right of it, and it says out-of-network benefits, 100%, 80%, 50%. And usually at the bottom is the difference, the maximum. In-network maximum 2,000, out-of-network maximum 1,500. Deductible, in-network $25, out-of-network $50. Does that make sense?
Right.
So when an Aetna patient comes to see you and your fee is usual and customary, it's not $212, and I'm an Aetna patient, I come in, I see Uzma for my hygiene visit, and you bill my insurance for me, you bill my Aetna for me, the claim comes back from my Prophy and they pay you $112. I still pay nothing. Okay? Because 100% of a UCR fee is 100%. Now, some insurances, again, 5 to 10% are going to be kind of crappy. But here's the deal. If let's do two more examples. What's your exam fee?
I don't remember.
Let's be conservative. Let's say it's $58. Okay?
I never charge.
Okay, start charging for that. That's an absolute, you must charge for that. 100% of the time when you are seeing hygiene patients, you have to charge for that.
No, I mean, I don't charge cash patients for this.
Oh, you don't charge cash patients for it. I gotcha. What is Aetna's fee for this, would you say?
Periodic exam,
If you had to guess, what would you say?
okay, so,
$40-50.
but
Not
Like $30, $40?
like 30, 35.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll call it 35. We'll be conservative. Okay. And then, and by the way, for all new patients moving forward, you're going to charge them an exam for your cash pay patients. Okay. We'll talk about it when we do our doctor call. We'll talk more about that. So for periodontal maintenance, what is your 4910 fee? We're just going to do these 3 fees. That's it. What is your perio fee? Would you say? What's your 4910 code? Office fee.
Believe 165.
Okay. All right. Seems about right. And then what do you think like an Aetna's fee would be for that?
Have no idea.
Let's be conservative, say it's 120. Okay.
Think about that one.
Think it's lower than that?
Okay. Okay.
49. G. So periodontal maintenance from Aetna, $67.
Wow. Okay. So when this patient comes in, we'll talk about how that gets paid. But if you look at this average percentage write-off right here, you're writing off 50% on these 3 codes to be in network with this plan. Aetna is winning at this because here's what happens. When you're out of network with them, they will approve these fees because they are usual and customary. They call it MAC, maximum allowable charge. Now, if you want to make your periodontal maintenance fee $350, that's not going to fall in line, right? That's not going to work. So as long as your fees are reasonable, they're going to approve these fees as an out-of-network provider and pay based upon that, okay? So here's the math real quick for the team. This average of 49%, if you go out of network with them, you'd have to lose 49% of your patients, okay, to just break even with these patients when they, I mean, imagine this. You see 8 patients a day. 8 of them are paying you $50, okay? You're getting $400 a day. You resign from the insurance. Half of them leave. And now you're seeing 4 patients at $100. You're getting $400. So do you want to work harder for less money or work less for the same amount of money? Okay. Now, here's the deal though. We never see that. We see 5%, 10%, maybe in extreme examples, maybe 15% of the patients leave when you're out of network. Maybe. Okay. Which means 90% of the people are going to stay paying 50% more of the money. That's what creates a healthy practice. Okay. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. Now.
So just a minute.
Yeah.
If we out of network, patient pay to the office, and after that patient get refund from insurance.
No.
How does it work?
Exactly how you're doing it right now.
Ah,
Exactly how you're doing it right now. Unless it's Delta or Blue Cross Blue Shield. Everybody else is releasing a sign. The insurance check's still going to come to you. This is why it's a no-brainer. The patient's not going to see anything different. Their maximum's going to eat away faster, but they're still going to get their 2 free cleanings a year.
actually, patients who goes to me from year to year, each year, every 6 months, they don't have dental problems.
Yeah,
They just come for checkup and cleaning.
that's right. Yeah, they're not going to see anything different. Here's what happens. On 100% coverage, right? We're going to go like this, out of network. Let's do in network first, right? In, and then here's out, okay? For a patient who comes in when you're in network and you got paid, I don't know, $100, right? Right? You get let's say that $100 charge, you get $50. Okay. Right. And then let me scroll over here. I want to show you something. And then what does the patient pay of that? I got to shrink here. I'm going to move Zoom out of the way. That's what we'll do. Okay. So can you guys see this over here? Okay. Okay. So when you're out of network, and then here's the patient portion, right? All right. Here's the fee. Okay. And you're in network, you get 50. Okay. And patient pays 0. When you're out of network, you get $100. Patient pays 0.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, let's say for a filling, right? A $300 filling, UCR. When you're in network, insurance probably cuts that to $150 and they pay 80% of $150. So they pay you 80% of $150. Well, I can just do it right here. $150 times 0.8. They pay you $120, okay? And the patient pays you $30 to get that $150, right? That was the approved amount. Now, when you're out of network, they approve the $300. The insurance pays you 80% of $300. 300 times 0.8. Okay. Insurance pays you $240 and the patient pays 20% of $300. They pay $60. You're talking about $30 more per filling. It's not, and that's a big filling at $300. It could be $250 and go down from there, right? And I'll give you an example. And it may be that they pay more than this in network. So the difference is typically per filling, $20, $25, maybe $30 per filling. It's not enough for patients to freak out and go, right? I don't want to do that. This is patient in network. This is patient out of network. Okay. Now, here's where it does become a bigger issue. The crown. Okay. In network, the insurance pays you $350 and the patient pays you $350. You get $700. That sound about right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, insurance is going to pay you $600 and patient is going to pay you $600. So you just went from getting $700 total. The insurance is now going to pay you $600. The difference is the patient just increased their bill by $250 to have a crown done. This is where they'll feel it the most, is in the 50% category.
Mhm.
Well, the good news is you're not running into this a whole lot all the time. These are the areas where people will feel it the most, and they don't care here. They just want their free cleaning, right? They want their free hygiene visit. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want us to be comfortable with this, understanding that in network or out of network doesn't really change a whole lot, especially if we're not tackling a huge percent of your practice all at the same time. We're going to take bite-sized pieces. We're going to talk to 3 patients a day as a team, as the doctor. All of us are going to be doing this, and we're going to explain what's going to happen in a simple way that makes them feel comfortable. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about, and you can watch the training video on how to fill out the trackers again, because I sent that to you. You can watch that again. Okay. So that's the concept. So team, do you have any questions about this? Is anybody, well, let me explain what we say, and then I'll ask if you're nervous about this. Let's see if I can completely put you at ease. Some personal background.
May I say a few words?
Yeah, please.
I'm nervous about, so far insurance is a source of new patients.
Yep. Yeah.
We're gonna be out of network, so the existing patients, maybe some percentage will stay, we will not lose
Yeah.
money, but
Yeah.
new patients.
Yeah. Because here's what happens. A patient calls you up and says, yeah, I'm wondering if you take my insurance, right?
Right.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Are you in network with this insurance?
Okay. And the reason they ask that question is because they don't understand how it works. Just like me explaining to you guys, what are they really asking? They're saying, are you going to bill my insurance? Is my insurance going to pay you? Do I have to pay anything?
Right.
So if they have Aetna and they come in for their hygiene visit, do they have to pay anything? No. Maybe they have a $5, $10, $15, $20 copay, but most people are used to that. So they don't understand how the insurance works. It's not medical insurance. Medical insurance, when you're out of network, there's no benefits. You can't go there. You pay all out of pocket.
But how can we explain all
Here we
the
go. Here we
issues
go.
patient, new patient who calling?
That's right. New patient calls and says, yeah, I'm wondering if you're in network. Great call process, right? Oh, I'd be happy to help you out with that. Again, my name is Eric, who I have the pleasure of speaking with. This is Ricky Bobby. Okay, Ricky Bobby, well, great. When was the last time we saw you here? Never been there before. Well, welcome to practice. Thank you so much for choosing us. Who may we thank for referring to our practice? I was Googling you and I'm wondering if you accept my insurance. And I say, oh, absolutely. Tell me more about your insurance. Let's talk about that. Oh, I have Aetna. Okay. We have a lot of patients who have Aetna in our practice. Law of the herd, right? We have a lot of patients who have Aetna in our practice. Is it through your employer or your spouse's employer? Tell me about that. Oh yeah, it's through such and such ABC company. Oh yeah, we have patients who come here who have that same exact plan. You need to know if you have that plan or not. If you've never encountered that plan, you're gonna have to do some research and figure it out. All you're trying to figure out, is this an HMO plan? Is this a PPO only plan? Or is this an open network plan? Open network is a key word. And so I say, oh, we have a lot of patients who come here with that same insurance. Let's say it's Medicaid. Oh, we have a lot of patients who come here who have Medicaid. How we work in our office is and then I go into an explanation. Okay. So law of the herd is important. Now let's keep it with Aetna just for simplicity's sake. I'm going to explain to them after I've built rapport, after I've done engagement. I'm not going to have that be the first thing I ask. Am I going to risk some of my time spent on the phone with them? Absolutely, because I'm trying to develop relationship with them. If I don't develop relationship rapport with them, I'm going to get a lot of no's. If they go, yeah, are you in network with Aetna? No, but click. It's not going to work. You need to earn the right to explain to them how it works. So I shared with them, I say, hey, listen, Monica, I heard him answer the phone the other day. Don't worry, your job is safe, okay? Don't you worry, okay? He did a great job, actually. He did really good. He did really good. For being a doctor, let me put it this way. He did better at answering the phone than I would do drilling on a patient. All right, so when we do this, here's a key factor. We have to earn the right relationship and then explain to the patient how it works on the phone. So we say, I want to share with you how your insurance works in a dental office. You have an open network plan. You have in-network or out-of-network benefits. Doesn't matter. You get to choose where you go. So our patients, they come in, they have their hygiene visit, they have their cleaning, their exam, their x-rays. We bill the insurance for them, and then the insurance pays us directly. And they typically pay 100% of your preventive services like that. Sometimes you might have a deductible, sometimes you might have a copay, but they're $5, $10, $20, and we'll let you know ahead of time if that's the case. How does that sound to you? Question mark. That make sense? But you get into, no, we're an out-of-network only plan. We dropped being in network a long time ago. Never tell them what you're not doing. Don't tell them what you don't do. Tell them what you do. That's my favorite thing. Tell them what you do. We bill your insurance for you. We have a lot of patients who come here. The insurance pays us. You have an open network plan. You may have a small copay. Oh, okay. I didn't know how it worked anyway. They don't know how it works. We're afraid to have that conversation to explain it to them because we think when they hear that information, they're not going to want to be patients. I have hundreds of offices that I've worked with all over the country. I've probably worked with over 300 offices over the country. I would say 90% of them are out of network or I've helped get out of network. Do you know how many went back into network after I helped them? 0. I'm telling you, the grass is greener. If we do this right, you're going to love it because you don't have to sweat it. So what these offices tell them is, oh yeah, we accept your insurance. Your insurance pays us. Absolutely. What we're not doing is fee for service. Fee for service is totally different. Fee for service means you pay me my fee, we bill your insurance, and your insurance reimburses you. We're not doing that. Does that feel better?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about how to have this conversation with your existing patients for the next 6 months. Okay, this is really, really, really important. You're going to decide maybe September 1st to start having these conversations, maybe tomorrow. Every day at Morning Huddle, you're going to have already prepped your charts and put in the appointment description, Aetna, MetLife, Cigna, whatever it is that we've decided that you're going to resign from, okay? And you're going to have this, you're going to say, doctor, we've got 3 patients today that you're going to have this conversation with them on. And then Uzma's going to support it when you leave the room. And then Svetlana is going to support it when you leave the room. And then Monica is going to support that conversation up front. We're all going to be saying very similar things, but it's going to start with doctor with that patient. Now, Monica, why is it better for doctor to talk about this instead of you?
Don't listen what the doctor.
Say it louder. What?
Don't listen what the doctor.
They listen to the doctor. You're right. I never say, I need you to fill out this medical history report, because then they argue with me, right? I say, doctor asked me to fill out this medical history report. Doctor asked you to fill this out. Not me, doctor. Blame him. Don't argue with me. And they never do. They don't argue with that. So when doctor sits down with the patient in the hygiene chair, or if you're doing hygiene, doctor, you will say this conversation. Remember, you're going to tell them what you're going to do, not what you're stopping to do. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're not going to use limiting terms. Remember, we worked on limiting terms. Okay. So we're going to tell them what we do. So we say, Ricky Bobby, as you know, our practice is built around 2 factors. 1, spending time to develop relationship with our patients. And number 2, doing the highest quality care we can absolutely provide. Every single time, we're going to stand behind our work. We've come to a decision that we want to continue to do that and make sure at the same time we maximize your insurance benefits in our practice. And so we're going to continue next time you come in to do that exact same thing. We're going to do that as an out-of-network provider. Now, here's the thing. You have an open network plan, meaning you get to choose whatever dentist you go to, in network or out of network. And your out of network plans say this. They say, we pay 100% of that hygiene visit when they come to see you, Dr. Gelman. And so now we can keep providing high quality. We don't have to think about, do we need to cut corners, as things are moving that direction. And so our expectation is that you see little to no difference financially now being a patient in our practice moving forward. That's our goal. While we still provide you with great care, while spending time with you and having a relationship. We do not want to turn ourselves into a run patients through clinic style. We do not want to do that. We want to keep doing what we've always done. Does that sound fair to you? Does that sound fair to you? Does that sound fair to you? That's a great question. Now, you can do that a lot of different ways. But the point is, what do you want to be consistent at? Quality care, relationships. Here's how insurance, a small abbreviation about how insurance works. You have to have a good understanding of this. And keep in mind, every time you have this conversation, you get better and better and better at it, okay? They're going to go, okay, doctor. Then doctor's going to leave. They're going to go, Uzma, what's this all about? And then she's going to have to then say the same sort of thing, right? Or Svetlana. And then they're going to come up front, Monica, what does this mean for me? It really means nothing. Our goal is that this means nothing to you. Maybe you have a small copay when you come in, maybe, just like you would at a medical facility. Dental insurance works so well with open network dental plans. You get to choose. And so we're excited about this change. We want you to be excited about it. Make sense? Okay, great. Okay, now, let's say Ricky Bobby comes back in 6 months with Aetna. He comes in to see you, we tell him, no change. We bill his insurance. And it comes back and it's really bad. We told him no change. We're going to make sure there was no change for him. We call it the olive branch, right? You give someone an olive branch system. We're going to write it off one more time like we always have in the past. And then we're going to explain to him, hey, and basically he's in that 5% of bad plans, right? We're going to explain to him, hey, you know what? All of the plans through Aetna have been great. There's been one that's been an issue. And of course, that's the one you have. You have 2 options. You can talk to your employer about switching your insurance plan to an open network plan, or what your copay coming in next time will be $100. Whatever you prefer. This time, doctor said he's going to pay the $100 for you. No change in the bill for you this time. We want you to know that. Okay. You always have that. So you're going one time, you're going to make sure that patient doesn't feel anything. Now it's $5 or $8. That's not a big deal. You send them a bill for that or you ask for the copay. Okay. Because we've prepared them for that. Okay. Is this conversation making sense?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you going to be good at it the first time you do it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I hope I will, this recorded I will be able to save and watch again.
I'm going to also text message you. I'm going to text message you this conversation. I'm going to be on your phone and then you can play it over and over and over again. And then you can say it over and over again. I want you guys to role play it. I want you to role play it 10 times before you start talking to patients, because I don't want you to go to patients going, this is what we don't want it to sound like. Well, Ricky Bobby, we've decided to drop your insurance plan. Right? You can see where that's going right away. That's not going to end well. This is also why we don't send a letter to all of our patients. Hey, good news. We're resigning from your insurance plan. They don't read any further. That's it. They stop reading the letter and they switch dental offices. Okay. So we ask the patient at the end, we say, do us a favor, schedule your next visit with us, see how it goes. We promise you, we will not make it a big financial change for you to come in next time and see how it works. We promise you. Because you have that, you don't need to tell them, oh, we'll write it off. You don't need to tell them that. Just make a promise to them. They come in the next time, they say, oh, you're right. It was no big deal. I do have 14 kids. I don't have to pay that much. You know, it's all covered. You guys got it? Okay. So no letters. Don't say it the wrong way, limiting terms. Don't say what you're not going to do. Practice this conversation over and over and over again. I'll text you the audio file. Okay. And you'll hear it'll sound a little bit different. But some key factors: open network. Explain how at a network there won't be a change. Give them the benefits, relationships, and quality. Okay. How does this sound to you guys? Team, nervous? Feel better? Remember, small piece of your practice, not the whole practice, small piece of your practice, not a lot of risk. We're betting a little bit of our money for a high yield. If I told you, hey, the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Sorry, I caught myself. That was very funny. But if I said, hey, give me $10, you bet on the Jets for the Super Bowl, and if they win the Super Bowl, I will give you $100. You might take that bet. But if I said, you give me $100, and if the Jets win the Super Bowl, I'll give you $110 back.
Big difference.
You're not risking that. You're not going to make that bet. This is why betting has odds, right? Because that's not really likely the Jets are going to win. So we're going to please give us your money for free. We'll take your $10, right? Similarly here, you're betting on a no-brainer. You're taking a little bit of risk with patients who already love you, with easy conversations. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's gonna be some sticks in the mud. There's gonna be some 5% of the people. And you're gonna say, look, just come in one time. We promise, watch and see. We'll make sure, we promise you'll not have a big financial change. And then later you'll say, oh, we were wrong, to 5% of the people. It's not gonna be that many people. You with me? Yeah. All right, now listen, I'm not trying to motivate you. This is key. I'm not trying to motivate you, because motivation is going to fade. You'll forget this conversation. That's why you recorded it, so you can watch it over and over again. I'm not trying to motivate you. What I am trying to do is inspire you with other people's stories to see that it's doable, and create a discipline in your life every single day that you're willing to have a conversation with someone. If you can be disciplined in this conversation, it will completely change your practice. It'll completely change your career. Now, team members, keep in mind, when the practice grows, guess what else grows? And I'm going to hold them to that as long as it's a healthy number. Is that fair, doctor?
Sure.
And inflation is happening. Your expenses are going up. Your pay deserves to go up. Here's the deal. There's no money in this sort of writing off 50%. There's no money in that to give raises and for you guys to grow. Second thing I would say is, If you expected to be given a raise for doing nothing, then you're living in a fantasy world. And that's just the fair truth, right? We all know this. We got to do something to get something. So be disciplined in this conversation, in this effort for the next 6 months. And my promise to you is at day 5 months and 28 days, we will make a decision to say, do we want to resign from this or not? Based upon the results we're getting in the conversations, you'll have a really good feeling. You'll be disciplined having them. At the end of the 6 months, you still get to decide at the end of 6 months if you still want to do it or not. My promise to you is you'll probably go, Eric, this makes sense to do. Let's do it. That's my promise is I've never had anybody say, yeah, I don't really think I want to do it. In fact, you guys with the whole Delta Premier PPO, that's the first time I've run into that. That's the first time I've run into anybody going, I'm not really sure, which is fine. We can deal with that later. Let's do this part first. Okay. All right.
We
Be
definitely
disciplined.
gonna try. We're gonna do it, but before we do it, we have to prepare.
Let's do the research. That's right. So we're going to do the research. You and I will review the trackers at our next meeting. And then you'll start having the conversations when we all agree it's time to give you the green light, start having the conversations. Remember, you're 6 months away from being out of network whenever till you start, right? The day you start, you're 6 months from being out of network.
Mhm.
All right. Sound good, guys?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. I've got a lot of notes now to keep up with here. So our next meeting, Doctor, you and I are September 8th. So just a couple weeks away. So let's have the trackers done by then, by September 8th, sent to me. And then team, September 21st, you're going to be telling me how the conversations are going by then. And we're going to do some role playing. We're going to do some follow-ups. We're going to see how you guys are doing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. September 21st, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll see how you guys are doing with this. Doctor, you and I will make decisions on September 8th.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Eric.